Good morning, everybody. Hold on, let's do your fancy update, and then we'll go from there. Give me a second. Where is that? Where is that? Put this on pause. Let's go to that. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good day. Let's get started here. Can you hear me? Just make sure you can hear me, because I'm wondering if I'm having issues again with this thing. Hopefully everyone can hear me. All right, you should be able to hear me. Let's rock and roll. All right, cool. It looks like I might have a problem here, and I'm just trying to make sure of it. It looks like I did the private pre-market. People are telling me that they couldn't hear me this morning. Oh, man, you got to be kidding me with this. So, yep, it's going to be an issue today. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to retail sales and see what we're doing here on retail sales, and then I'm going to have to figure this out and see how we're doing here. So retail sales are getting clipped this morning, it looks like. Let's go take a look at the data. Let's go take a look at that data, see what's going on. So we are dropping, so that's kind of interesting on that news. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to pull it up right now and see what we're going on. Oh, they're a dumpster fire. That's why. So let's pull that up. I'll just screenshot it so that I can show you in here. And that's why you're dropping. And we'll go through this. Retail sales year over year. Jesus. Give me a second here. Yeah, that's why you're dropping like a stone. So I'll show you these screens. I'm just going to clip them so that it's easier and we don't have to go back and forth. But this is retail sales year over year. And I'll drop them in here so that you can see it. I'm actually surprised you're even bouncing at all, but let's just show you this. And I'm going to put this in here too at the same time for time's sake. And then we'll squeeze this down. Cool. And let me just make sure that you have that on the screen so you can see them. And then we'll get that done. Okay. And we'll get going there. Here's your numbers. Retail sales, negative 0.9. Previous was negative 0.1. And then exports month over month. And we can see how that's going right there. That actually, I don't really care about exports and imports. The retail sales starting to get worse. And the previous, I do look at previous because I know it's seasonal, but I do look because they put seasonality with it. But you see, like we are consensus -7, and you're lower than that. As far as import export, tariffs have us at an absolute disaster right now. I think I can make that a little bit bigger for you guys. Yeah, cool. So that's definitely going to be an issue for me. Retail sales control group, I don't really get into. X auto sales. So retail sales, if you took out cars. Because the reason they take out cars, so people get this, is you need a car. So, we're in the U.S., you need a car to get to work. Most people do anyway, right? Export prices, I don't really care about import prices. Retail sales, X, gas, and autos taken out if I didn't have to buy gas and if I didn't have to buy an auto. Where am I? I'm down. So that tells you where the consumer is in their head. I'm going to remove that. But I want to show you this because to me, this is pretty telling. So retail sales, let me see if I can squeeze that sucker down and get that really bigger. And I'd rather do it this way than switch on the system. But I've been having major problems with StreamYard. I'm going to probably have to switch to another carrier. So, or another live situation, we'll say. But if I take a look right here, this is retail sales year over year. That is a huge drop on where you are. So it's starting to, in other words, what you're starting to see slowly creep into these numbers are the tariffs. And I think that you really want to pay attention to that. I think it's a larger issue than people think it is. So it's definitely something that I want to pay attention to. Now tomorrow, FOMC, I think he's got a really tough job tomorrow. I really do. And I feel really bad for him. Like, I don't feel bad for him. I shouldn't say it that way, but like, I don't envy that job tomorrow on how he's going to explain why he's not cutting rates. And why you're watching continuing claims at 3-year highs. So I really don't get that. And we'll go from there. But give me 1 second here. So where I am here and how I see this playing out is I don't see the reason to be in a hurry. If you watch this through NQ, it's probably doing the same exact freaking thing, right? Oh, good, it's even worse. So the real issue here is why do you have to do a lot today? I'm going to just tell you, like, I think you kind of have to, go find a nice book and go outside. Like, the headline risk today is going to be insane. It just is. Like, I'm just going to tell you, it's going to be insane. Like, there'll be trades, but like the headline risk is just going to be absolutely crazy. There's really no other way to say that. Take what you can get today and then kind of like move on. But it's really, really bad. So just understand that. The AMD news that, these guys want to invest. Yeah, I mean, it looks like they were just waiting again, and here we go again, and they're just going to buy the heck out of it. So I don't know if they got more news today, or it's just that Saudi Arabia is going to buy more of that. Whatever the reason, but you can already see that that's flipping, and that's definitely something that you're going to want to pay attention to. I'd be really careful, chasing anything. You can go look at the vol and see how that volume works. And that volume is kicking up, but I'd be super careful chasing anything. You might see this kind of lift also. It's kind of interesting with, Micron, and see if you can get through this level up here. Micron's been one of those things where, every day it's just, you're kind of flipping a little bit. And if AMD is going to move, Micron's going to move. A lot of these names will move in tandem, more the analog names. Like, you'll see ADI move the same time, Texas Instruments moves the same time. It's kind of weird. It's not really NVIDIA that moves at the same time as them. It's super, super weird. But it's really kind of interesting. Like, AMD tends to move with the analog names. I have no idea why, but it just does. And you just see the huge buying yesterday. It doesn't really matter what I think. People are like, well, you think it's a pig? I do. I don't see any reason to buy this name. That doesn't mean that Saudi Arabia buying 10 billion, if that's what they're doing in the open market's not going to drive it higher. Of course it is. Like, it is what it is, guys. The game's the game. And you're probably going to push like off of that, that little, like, it's funny. Someone just said to me, they showed me a chart yesterday and said, show me, is this an abandoned baby chart? I'm like, no, that's an abandoned baby chart. Like, that is right there. You can see that pretty clear. We could probably change that right there and change the colors of that a little bit. But for the time that we have, okay, seems like a lot going on in there. Let's see if we can do this right the first time. Go settings, text, style, background, and let's drop it to that. That's better, right? Yay. And drop that in there like that. I'm going to go there. And so, it doesn't mean that just because I don't like the name or think it's a pig doesn't mean the stock's not going higher. I can favor NVIDIA all I want. Doesn't mean that AMD is not going to outperform it for a period of time, which is pretty clear that it's setting up that way. Other things that I think that are super interesting that you should be paying attention to, stuff like USO. What I have a real issue here is if this is going to be so bad, why did oil stop going up? I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that, and it's starting to become clearer. I think that they keep talking about this regime change. Like if you listen to what the news says, right, and the words that they try to get into our brains, it's very clear that what they're doing is they're trying to get us to wrap our noodle around they're really trying to get us to wrap our noodle around the idea of, how can I say this? They're really trying to get us to wrap our noodle around the idea of a regime change. And like they're bringing out families from the Shah, things like that. They're trying to, they're prepping us for what they're going to do. And I think that's super interesting because I would think that oil would go a lot higher, and you've already reversed like pretty nasty. So are we going to hold in here? Man, that's a tough one. And then why was gold? Like, then you go look at gold, and why was gold dropping? Like, it makes no sense unless they think it's going to be like 1, 2, 3. This is what we're doing, and this is the way it is. But it truly doesn't make any sense. Let's go through a bunch of names today for you guys, and kind of see where we're at. I do think that you want to be, and I can't really stress this enough. I don't know that I'm seeing the risk in the market, and I want to explain what I mean by that. You come in every day and this stuff's like up like $5, like 5%, like these names, and then they're gapping up, and then by the end of the day, you're hosed. So I would be super careful with the gap ups. What I would be playing today is I'd be looking more at the pullbacks. I think that would be way more appealing to me, the pullbacks, than anything. I'm not so sure that I'd want to be going, goofy here for the rallies and going from there. I'd be super, super careful here with some of this stuff. I want to just get that out there before we get into any names. I don't know that you're going to get a lot of people that are going to feel that they have to do something like ahead of the Fed. Maybe retail, but that's it. So what do you got, John? Yeah, you definitely turned there, John. I mean, I can say anything I want, but that flipped. I mean, you flipped. You might have even flipped the one level that would actually really have me interested, which is back here on the weekly. So you might be there. Yeah, you're there. So I don't really like to buy these names, but if you're going to buy this like long term, that's the bar. And really what you're doing, and it's a really simple strategy that I use. It's so simple, but it works. If you're like a super long-term buyer, when you break the 200-week moving average, you never want to be in the name, ever. When you get above the 200-week moving average, close over it and make a higher high, you want to be in it. So you see how you closed over it here, right? And then you pulled back and you made the higher high. It takes a long time, but like you can catch real moves on that stuff. So this is the first one. You have 3 days to do it. Today's Tuesday, right? So Wednesday, Thursday. Well, Thursday we're closed, so you need Wednesday, Friday, and then you need the higher high close. You might not want to wait for that and just do it, but that's up to you. You're 10 points away from what you're going to do with that. But you have to understand you're looking at it from a very long-term perspective. You're looking at this for months, not, I'm going to trade it today. And it does work. We're going to start doing way more long-term stuff, show them way more long-term ideas and how to do that kind of trading. It's really missing in people's arsenals. It really is. I'm just watching people like the most money, I'm just going to say, like, I make money day trading. I do. And I make money swing trading. But the most money I make, candidly, is when I build positions and I leave them on and I allow them to work. Like when I did that in 23 with this, with NVIDIA, and we bought this, hold on, like back in the day. Where did we buy this sucker? Let me see if I can find it. Here. and just built a position in it and didn't get out until the deep seek stuff, like that's how you kill it. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but that's really how you kill it. Like you can make money day trading and swing trading, but that's how you really kill it. Building positions and allowing them to work. People just don't want to tell you that for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why, but if anything I've ever done, that's how I've done it. You know, you can make money day trading and swing trading. You can, but the real money, like if all the money was really not made in building positions, that's what all the drunken millers and guys would be doing. They'd just be day trading. Anyway, I'd watch AMD today, but I'm going to start doing more videos like that on process and things like that. It's definitely needed. The more I look at it. I think continuing claims is a freaking nightmare. I don't know how he's going to explain it. I'm not really sure if they're going to hammer him on it tomorrow or not. So, and then we'll go from there. So I don't know, man. They're going to hammer him on it. Let's go through some of these things. I don't think the Fed's going to be nothing burger. I think he's absolutely hosed in his speech. I think Itchy has a real problem. I think he might bring out, I think he might like, you'll know he's got an issue tomorrow if you see the iPad. Remember when he brings out the iPad, it's usually the worst speeches. I think he's bringing out the iPad tomorrow. We should put money on it. ASML is a great company. It's very hard to trade. You're doing a lot of the things that I like. I actually bought this. I'll show you this trade. I actually bought this back in here when it flipped that level. And I did really well with it. I mean, I was up like 100 points in it or 80 points, whatever, but I never got out of it. I got stopped out and then it flipped again. And then, you know, this is what happens. I'm on the bigger and brighter names. But yeah, you're setting up here big time. And here, I'll show you the setup too. It's beautiful. I have issues, obviously. Like I look at charts like they're freaking music or art, but like they are to me. So like watch, see here, see the undercut, see where you're at, right? And then it reverses, like then you get a bullish engulfing, like on the bottom, and then you have the positive divergence. Like you're not breaking this. You know, the question is, are you willing to hold for months and months why this thing just retools itself? You know, and you gotta get over that control bar. But yeah, I mean, if you're a long-term guy, like this stuff's there. Some of this stuff's like really there. So you got some real moves coming on this stuff. You know, you really do. So, pardon the voice. Scratchy today. And go from there. Let me just drop that down. Watch for the iPad. I'm telling you, it's all about the iPad. Good morning from Miami. I'm not going to have time to go through all these. I apologize. But can you look at FUR? Yeah, let's take a look. FUR. And I want to get to the guys that come in at like 5 in the morning. Is this it? Is this what you want me to look at? I don't know what you want me to look at, bro. Is this it? Is this what you're showing me? This? You got to be, that can't be it. It's got to be something else. What's up, John? Let's do W. I think that if you're looking at this stuff, and you're looking at the like left head, right shoulder, neckline breaks, they're all there, man. Like a bunch of this stuff, it's the apparel names like that are just not there. But yeah, this stuff's getting there and watch. But wait, there's more. You're setting up to start having golden crosses in like a month. And so you can figure that out, how long the golden cross is going to take. I'll show you how to do that real quick. So what you do is just, and it's linear, but like watch these numbers that are over here and you'll see them. And we'll just drop that down. So like you just take that number right there and you're like 42 to 32, right? And you see it and then you just come over and see how it's moving. And all you do is just calculate that move. So the move really is about 30 cents. So if you're here, and I'm just doing it linearly, obviously it could move more. But if you're there at 30 cents and you're $9 apart, you can do the math and kind of figure out when you're going to be there. So, you know, you can be there quicker than you think, but you're probably, you know, 30 days out from having like a golden cross on something like that. And that's going to be super interesting to me. You know, some of these names just got destroyed, absolutely destroyed on these pullbacks. But if we look at something like this, do we have more issues with tariffs? I don't know. And these kinds of names are just fascinating because, you're just breaking out. You're just breaking out. Like, is the consumer in trouble or isn't the consumer in trouble? And now you can see it's down today because of the consumer. But man, it's definitely interesting. And they're having yums at Olive Garden for sure. So, you start seeing this stuff. I don't get it. We're supposed to be worried about the consumer, and is it the apparel side? And are they not spending money on the apparel side, but they're going to go have yums? So, maybe it is. I'm not buying stuff like this in this kind of market, but that can go 100%. It can, John. It just can. What's up, Julian? Oscar Hems Bitcoin. So I had a position in this. I'm already out of it. And it's just because I don't like what I'm seeing this morning. So I got out of it. I bought it last night when, the president so eloquently told everyone to evacuate Tehran. That was definitely calming, wasn't it? So when that happened and that news hit, I just bought it. I didn't chase it. Was it that or was it this? Amityville Horror, the whole place. So I think when you get to the 1646 level, like that was pretty much that's your level. You're kind of boxed in here. The only thing I would say about this, and this is where I would leave it, you're in a situation where you now have news, right? That news is that there's a Senate bill, and that Senate bill is going to do X, Y, Z. You don't know that. There's just this bill. Didn't get voted on. They just put the bill together. Maybe that gets stripped out of it. Now, they all own the stock, so it probably doesn't get stripped out of it, right? But it also makes you think of like TEM, and like, why wouldn't TEM start to move on this? So just a thought. So that's definitely something of interest to me. It's definitely something of interest to me. So let's go through the HIMS. I might trade that later, but not now. So I like HIMS here a lot. I think that this was silly. This is just somebody that's aggravated. They got kicked off the deal team. And what we have here is just a standard pattern that you should be looking for on your trades. So, down 1, 2, 3. And then what we did in here, we actually bought this. We bought the flip. You came right to your support level and then you flipped. And since then, there's nothing for me to do with it. Your real issue is going to be this day right here, that open, because the people that bought the open are going to be like, what was that? And now they're break even. So you always have to think about, from a market structure standpoint, like where are people? But, as someone say the mother of dragons, you have the mother of cup and handles here. People say it's too deep. It doesn't count, whatever. So it does count. In my world, it counts. That's all that matters. So like, if you look at how this is going, the other thing I would say is see yesterday's close. See how yesterday's close is the first close that's above that breakdown. Okay. So that's like your first one right there that you actually broke above and closed above. And the volume's actually picking up. So yeah, I think you're good here. I think this is better looking chart than the other one. What else you got for us, Julian? MSTR, I think that you have to think about it this way. A lot of imposters out there doing what they're doing or trying to do what they're doing. So that's going to take volume away from them. And you can see the volume completely, start coming away from them. The other thing is that's going to shrink the NAV to premium. And that's going to be an issue for them. So keep that in mind. What do you got? Yeah, I'm not touching BA. Like, I don't get it at all. Like, I really don't get it at all. So I'm not going near it. That's going on the list of like names that it does not trade the way that it should. So it's the antithesis of news. So, you got down because of bad news. And then look at, like, if you really get into it, anybody that shorted the open that day didn't make money. And then you had to hold and pray to God that you had a bad day the next day, which you did. And then after that, you're like, oh, good. There's more trouble at the company, right? Try not to sound like a sociopath, but like, it's definitely going down. Oh, you're going higher than where you were the day before. Okay. Like, and then people will be like, well, that's good. That means buy it. No, that just means that you've got a bunch of people in there that are dedicated right now, and they will be dedicated until they find out what the issue is or until somebody loses a contract. So you have a tremendous amount of headline risk, like a ton, dude. So the whole market has headline risk, but Air India comes out and puts something on hold. Now, you didn't see that at the Paris show. You saw demand at the Paris show, so you might be good. AEVA. I don't know what this does, man. I don't have a clue, except it just goes up every day. So I don't have a clue what that does. Not a clue. Not a freaking clue what that does. It's an absolute monster. You're killing it on the revenue. Started there. Killing it on the revenue. They probably gave great guidance here. This would be a really interesting conference call to listen to. I may listen to this conference call because that changed everything. I don't know what they do. It's very difficult for me to comment on it. From a technical standpoint, you're overextended, but could you get overextended more? Yeah, much more. I don't know how different the company is now versus here. What you might want to do is something like take the peak and drop a peak VWAP and then see how you acted there. And you acted pretty good, actually. You formed a 3-bar pattern and then you broke up over it. So, that's your support level in there. So whenever you have something like this, just drop a peak VWAP and it'll tell you like what's going on. And that's pretty interesting, man, that you did that. So, pullbacks to that area that hold, super interesting. And that's something that I pay attention to. Thanks, Jared. Trying, man. What do you got, Alan? Good morning from Chicago. Good morning from Miami. Vive Med Software. I mean, you must have had great earnings. Some of these companies are killing it. I think it looks great. I don't think there's much to say there. Okay, I'm going to have to jump, guys. I got to do some things here. I'm just going to go through there. Good morning from Phoenix. What's up, Troy? It's absolutely glaring, dude. I'm just going to search through these super quickly and then go from there and see if there's anything here I got to go through. Less is more here. We got to do more long-term stuff. There's definitely the itchy iPad trade. Melly looks good, right? What's up, Dexter? Melly looks great. Did you see this? Watch. See it? Look at it. But you came down to that. You came down at 55. I should be able to get the camera back by next week. I got the monitors. I bought all these new monitors and then I sent them all back. They sucked. So I should have the camera and the mic and everything rocking and roll by next week. So we'll get there. It's interesting though, right? I don't know. I was looking at this the other day. I really like this name. I really do. But wait, watch this. 3-5 flip right here. I mean, it doesn't get any cleaner where your stop is. You just don't want to close under that. But if you're long-term, man, yeah, this is definitely an area of interest. So, all right, I got to jump. Oh, let's do ARM. Jess is always buying ARM. I mean, it's perfect, dude. Left head, right shoulder, wonky cup and handle. Call it a blueberry all you want. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you call it, Dex, but it doesn't get any cleaner, right? There's your control bar. Tried again, failed, getting tighter and tighter. See, when you get tighter in those areas, you want to pay attention to them. It's not the extreme moves into those areas you want to pay attention to. It's that. So you look at the volume and you're ticking up. So you're definitely moving in semis. I mean, I don't think there's any question about that. I actually think at this point you might, really start looking at the stocks, but it's I keep waiting for something to happen and meaning I keep waiting for the stuff to figure out what it wants to do. Look at KLAC. Look at all the volume. This is not a market that's going into recession on semis. They're telling you we're going higher. You're getting ready to hit all-time highs. You've had nothing but buying for the month of June. in KLAC. You haven't had a red day in KLAC. I got to jump, guys. Trade to win.